And welcome to today's edition of Weathering the Storm of Life with the Rainses. Rob Rains, Sally Tippett Rains, coming to you on Good Friday. Obviously, a different kind of an Easter week this week with everything going on in the world, but still a day to remember and to think about everything that we have going for us.
I hope everybody that celebrates Easter continues to celebrate it. I have on my Choose Happy blog, I wrote about that. Are we having Easter this year? And by gosh, we definitely should have Easter this year, however you choose to do it. So, anyway, my words of wisdom today are from one of my favorite movies and probably one of many of your favorite movies. Remember, no man is a failure who has friends. I got this cool pillow from my daughter-in-law, Lori, and George Bailey was told that by the
Clarence.
angel, by Clarence the angel. And now is the most important time to reach out to your friends and family if you're feeling lonely or you're regretting or feeling sad about past Easters or just holidays and family activities you haven't been able to have. Call them up, get on Zoom with them. That's been fun. And just reach out to your friends. It'll make you feel a lot better. Don't wait for people to contact you. You be the person.
Very good. So we're going to have two different categories for today's quiz. You're going to get out a piece of paper and write down your answers as we play along here, or you can just remember them in your head. The first category is famous duos. We're going to name the name of somebody, and you have to come up with a person that they are most closely identified with. As
From one non-famous duo, we
Yep.
will name
That's right.
name
They
famous
may or may
duos.
not have been man and wife, or they may have just been associated in some other way. But if you hear one of these names, you usually associate the second name with that person. So.
All right, I'll start. This is pretty easy. Number 1, Adam. Adam.
Okay. Number 2, Chet Huntley, former TV broadcaster. Chet Huntley.
Number 3, Oscar Hammerstein. Oscar Hammerstein.
Question 4, Edgar Bergen.
Edgar Bergen.
Bergen.
Number 5 is Ginger Rogers. Who was always with Ginger Rogers?
And number 6, Roy Rogers. Ginger was not with Roy.
And the other people's names were not Rogers either.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Batman. Who was with Batman? That's pretty easy.
Question 8, Sonny Bono. Who was with Sonny Bono?
The name most closely associated with Donny Osmond. Number 9 is Donny Osmond.
And number 10 was Mork. M-O-R-K. Who was the name that you associate with Mork?
I like having two different categories
Mm-hmm.
because then if you don't like the first one, you might like the second one or vice versa. So let's go.
Well,
What's the second one?
In honor of Good Friday, we're going to have a category that surrounds the word good. All of these questions have something to do with the word good in either the question or the answer. So question 1, for kind of our older audience probably, who was famous for saying good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are? Who was famous for saying good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are?
And I'm guessing if the older crowd is still out there, they're
Yep.
going to get number 2. What
Yes.
newscaster began his broadcast with the phrase, "Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea"?
Classic line. Question 3, what is the Spanish word for good? The Spanish word for good was question 3.
Who was famous for the song that included the phrase, "Goodness gracious, great balls of fire"?
Speaking of songs, question 5, what was the famous Chuck Berry song that fits this category? The famous song by Chuck Berry that fits this category.
Who sang the song on the Good Ship Lollipop? Good Ship Lollipop. Who sang it?
That was question 6. Question 7, what company used the advertising slogan, where the rubber meets the road? Kind of two choices with that answer.
Yes.
Where the rubber meets the road.
Number 8, who was the goodbye girl in the movie of the same name?
Okay. Question 9, what actor played a radio announcer who began his daily show with the saying, "Good morning, Vietnam," in the movie of the same name? Who was the actor?
What was the name of the song that included the phrase, "Good morning, America, how are you"? I said, you don't know me, I'm your native son. I don't have my glasses on, so sorry.
The phrase
I know the song.
was, "Good morning, America, how are you? Don't you know me? I'm your native son."
I could have sang it.
Don't you know me? I'm your native son. That was question 10. All right, now on to the answers of the famous duo
I think we're
category.
doing pretty good with no glasses on this show so far.
Famous duos, number 1,
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. Question 2, Chet Huntley did the NBC Nightly News with David Brinkley for
The
a long
Huntley
time.
Brinkley Report.
Mm-hmm.
And then Oscar Hammerstein was with Richard Rogers, Rogers and Hammerstein.
Edgar Bergen, his partner wasn't really a real person, but it was Charlie McCarthy.
Yep,
Was the,
wooden puppet.
Mhm.
Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire.
Roy Rogers was married to Dale Evans.
And then, of course, number 7, Batman and Robin,
And then Sonny and Cher, Sonny Bono and Cher,
which then led to the next one, Donnie and Marie, Osmond and
brother
Marie.
and sister.
Yep.
We saw them in Las Vegas.
Oh, best show ever. I don't think they're doing Las Vegas anymore, but that really was a great show.
And the last one, Mork, the television character played by Robin Williams, Mork and Mindy, was
Mork and Mindy.
the name of that TV show. Correct. On to the all good question categories. Famous for the saying "Good night, Mrs. Calabash," wherever you are, was Jimmy Durante.
And the way he said it was, "Good night, Mrs. Calabash,
Wherever.
wherever you are."
Question 2, the newscaster began his broadcast with the phrase "Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea," was Walter Winchell during the World War II.
The Spanish word for good is bueno, and we hope that we get to see bueno being bueno this year.
That would be great.
Always makes me think of that.
Question 4, Goodness Gracious, Great Balls of Fire, sung by Jerry Lee Lewis.
The song by Chuck Berry with good in it is Johnny Be Good. Everyone probably got that.
The song On the Good Ship Lollipop, sung by a future ambassador to where
Ghana, I think she was
Ghana,
the ambassador to
Shirley
Ghana.
Temple.
Yep, Shirley
Later known
Temple.
as
And then
Shirley
she was
Temple
Shirley
Black.
Temple Black. Yes.
correct.
All right, what company used the advertising slogan "Where the rubber meets the road"?
Goodyear.
And some people might
Not
have put
Goodrich.
Goodrich, but
Goodyear.
it was Goodyear.
The Goodbye Girl in the movie of the same name, a St. Louis native, Marcia Mason.
Good
Morning,
Morning America
Vietnam.
was Robin Williams.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Good morning Vietnam. Sorry about that.
It was Robin Williams. And the same of the song included the phrase, Good Morning America, how are you? Don't you know me? I'm your native son, was, of course, The City of New Orleans by Arlo Guthrie. So that'll do it for today's edition here of Weathering the Storms of Life with the Rangers. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here again on Monday with another edition of this program here on stlsportspage.com and rainbowsforkids.org.